Think of the happiest woman you know. Perhaps she's a neighbor, an old friend, or a cousin you always enjoy visiting. Is she the richest person you know? Probably not. Most women over the age of 60 living in America actually have no significant retirement savings. They clip coupons to save money. They drive old model cars. Some of them are practically living on their Social Security pension alone. On the other hand, some women who have well-stocked savings accounts and beautiful homes never seem to be entirely happy. So what's going on? What did these women know that we don't? Today's video is all about this. When I spoke to women living happy lives on modest incomes, I discovered that happiness is perfectly possible on a tight budget. In fact, there's a formula for it. And today, I'm going to share that 7-step formula with you. Grab your coffee, make yourself comfortable, and let's talk. 1. Money doesn't define your worth. One of the first things I noticed about truly happy women over the age of 60 is this: they stopped linking their self-worth to their bank balances a very long time ago. In this day and age, people generally tend to measure their self-worth by the things they own, the neighborhood we live in, the clothes we wear, the car in our garage. Most of us have accepted this mindset without so much as questioning it. However, when you reach your 60s, life takes away one by one the things you thought defined you. Your professional title is no longer yours. Your children have grown up. Your body no longer moves as it used to. And a somewhat unsettling question arises: who am I really? Women who are successful both materially and spiritually are those who answered this question with the voice within. They know that their worth stems not from their wealth, but from their character, their friends, their beliefs, their wisdom, and their laughter. Gloria, a retired teacher currently living on a state pension in a small flat in Ohio, puts it this way: "The day I stopped comparing what I had with what others had was the day I truly began to live." That shift in mindset doesn't cost a single dollar, but it pays dividends every single morning you wake up. Before we go further, tell me in the comments below, what is one thing in your life right now that money could never buy? I'd love to hear from you. 2. Become a master of the art of simple pleasures. There's a big difference between cheap and simple. Cheap feels like a punishment. Simple feels like freedom. Happy women living on modest incomes in America have learned to find genuine pleasure in the small, everyday moments. Researchers call this savoring. In other words, slowing down and fully experiencing the positive moments. Think about your morning. Do you gulp your coffee while scrolling your phone, or do you actually sit and taste it? Feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. Notice the way the light comes through the window. Barbara, 67, from Tennessee, told me that after her husband passed and she had to downsize dramatically, she felt terrified. But something unexpected happened. I started noticing things I had ignored for years. The cardinals that visit my feeder every morning, the smell of rain on the porch, the funny things my grandchildren say on the phone. I had all that richness around me the whole time. I just never slowed down enough to enjoy it. Simple pleasures that cost almost nothing: a long walk in a park, tending a small herb garden, cooking a meal from scratch, reading a good book, watching the sunset. These aren't consolation prizes for not having money. These are the actual ingredients of a happy life. The women who get this don't feel like they're missing out. They feel like they've discovered a secret everyone else is too busy to find. If this is resonating with you, hit that subscribe button. We share new wisdom every week for women just like you. 3. Invest your energy in people, not things. Here is a truth that every happy senior knows in her bones. At the end of the day, it's never the things you'll miss, it's the people. Research on happiness and aging is remarkably consistent on this point. Strong social connections are one of the most powerful predictors of health, longevity, and well-being in older adults, far more powerful than income level. Women who are flourishing financially and emotionally make relationships their priority. They show up, they pick up the phone, they bring over the soup. They sit on the porch and talk for hours about nothing in particular, which is often everything that matters. Dorothy, 72, lives in rural Georgia on a very limited fixed income. She has no car and rarely leaves her small property, and yet she knows every neighbor within half a mile by name. She organizes a monthly potluck at the community center. She babysits grandchildren. She calls a different friend every single evening. I have never been lonely, not once in my life, because I decided early on that love is something you do, not something you wait to receive. Community doesn't have to be expensive. Your local senior center, a walking group, a book club, a volunteer shift at a food pantry, these are all places where genuine human connection is free and available right now. Your time and your warmth are currencies that never run out.
Keep moving. You can't talk about happiness without talking about health. And you definitely can't talk about being 60 plus in America without acknowledging that medical costs are one of the biggest sources of financial stress for seniors. Here's the good news. The habits that protect your health the most are almost entirely free. Walking is the activity with the strongest scientific backing for the physical and mental health of older adults. It costs nothing. It requires no equipment. You can do it on your own or with a friend. It is well known that a brisk 20 to 30-minute walk a day helps prevent weight gain, improves mood, and benefits sleep patterns. The happy women I've met who are living on modest incomes are walkers. They walk in their neighborhoods, in parks, in malls during bad weather. Some do gentle yoga videos on YouTube for free. Others stretch in their living room every morning while the coffee brews. They also enjoy cooking at home. They do this not just to save money, but because they genuinely enjoy it. Preparing meals from scratch, using fresh ingredients, filling the kitchen with delicious smells, and sharing meals with others. These are pleasures that are also extremely healthy. And they fall asleep straight away at night. They prioritize rest and feel no guilt about it. These women know that a good night's sleep is both a necessity and a gift. The better you look after your body with simple, low-cost habits, the less effort you'll need to put into restoring it later on. What's your favorite free or low-cost way to stay active? Drop it in the comments. Your idea might inspire someone else today.
Find your why. Purpose. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot, but it's worth stopping and taking seriously because it may be the single most important factor in whether your later years feel rich or empty. Women of retirement age find themselves experiencing what researchers sometimes refer to as a purpose gap. For years, things like work and raising children provided a sense of purpose as part of life. Then one day, a quiet, unsettling question rises. What am I here for now? Women who manage to provide an answer to this question, even if it is not perfect, succeed in leading a happy life. Your purpose doesn't have to be anything grand. You don't need to do things like setting up a nonprofit organization or climbing a mountain. This purpose could be something as simple and heartfelt as teaching your grandchild to bake a cake, mentoring a young woman in your neighborhood, knitting hats for premature babies in hospital, or making a regular visit to the food bank every Thursday morning. Elaine, 64, from Michigan, struggled deeply after taking early retirement for health reasons. She felt useless, she told me, lost. Then she started volunteering at her local library's literacy program, helping adults learn to read. The first time a student read a sentence on his own and looked up at me with that huge smile, I went home and cried, good tears, because I remembered I still had something to give. Purpose doesn't pay the bills, but it fills something inside you that money never could. And when you wake up in the morning and there is something you have been eagerly awaiting, something meaningful to do, the impact of financial difficulties on you diminishes considerably. 6. Make peace with enough. There is an old saying, enough is as good as a feast. Just enough. Rightly enough. The happiest women I know over 60 have found their way to that word. Always wanting more is like a race with no finish line. True happiness is not something that comes when you have a lot of money. It is something that must be consciously chosen. Because money is never enough. Research shows that once our basic needs are comfortably met, having more money has a negligible effect on our day-to-day happiness. A woman with a little more money does not feel significantly happier than one with a little less. It is the quality of one's inner world that makes the difference, the relationships she builds, the meaning she gives to life, and her ability to appreciate what she has. They stopped spending hours poring over catalogs and scrolling through social media feeds, longing for things they could never afford. They stopped complaining about and even feeling ashamed of their living conditions. This sense of relief allowed them to make room for genuine happiness in their lives. 7. Take gratitude beyond the cliché. Unfortunately, gratitude has become something of a buzzword of late. When happiness researchers conducted a comprehensive study of the feeling of gratitude, they found that people who regularly write down their feelings of gratitude or express them aloud report enjoying better sleep, less anxiety, and stronger relationships. Almost all the women I know who embrace growing old with a modest income have their own personal practice of gratitude. This can be as simple as keeping a small diary by the bed and writing a single sentence every morning, or making a habit of saying thank you out loud throughout the day, for the hot water in the shower, for a phone call from their daughters, for their knees enabling them to get to and from the garden. The global economy runs on the engine of dissatisfaction. It makes you feel that you always need more, and that happiness is just a purchase away. Gratitude, on the other hand, is a quiet act of rebellion against this. When you shift your focus from what you lack to what you do have, your entire life experience changes. This change, simple, free, and within everyone's reach, is perhaps the most powerful habit on this entire list. We've covered a lot of ground today. Let's walk through it one more time together. The women who stayed genuinely happy with less money have stopped letting their bank balance define their worth. They've learned to find deep pleasure in simple, everyday things. They prioritize people over possessions and make time for real human connection. They keep their bodies moving with free, sustainable habits. They've found a sense of purpose that gives their days meaning. They've made peace with having enough rather than endlessly chasing more. And they practice gratitude, not as a performance, but as a daily discipline that reshapes how they see their lives. None of these habits cost money, but every single one of them is a choice. If you are in a season of financial worry right now, if you sometimes lie awake at 3 a.m. doing math in your head, I want to say this directly to you. Your life is not your budget. The richness you are capable of experiencing has very little to do with the number in your bank account, and very much to do with where you choose to direct your attention, your love, and your gratitude. You have already lived through hard things. You have already survived seasons you didn't think you would get through. And here you are, still here, still watching, still curious, still open. That is extraordinary. So tonight, before you sleep, maybe try this. Name 3 things, just 3, that are good in your life right now. Not perfect, just good. Hold them for a moment. Let them land. That is where your happiness lives. It has been there all along. Thank you so much for watching right to the end. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on videos created especially for women like you. Stay healthy and happy, and see you in the next video.